for allowing me to do this. Secondly, I want to thank him for calling me a young man. Tonight I'm going to do something I've been working on for a while. And at one point I thought I had it. Looked really good, at least in my eyes. And when I got a better look at it, and I got a more biblical look at it, I realized, this isn't right. And when I presented it to somebody, I realized, why is all this stuff here? Now this is, as Pastor said, a learning process, something you learn over time. And I have a long way to go. That's okay.
Amen.
I'm glad I'm doing this, because this is really going to help me, and hopefully everybody will get a message. Somebody will get a message tonight. Somebody, maybe later on down the road, it'll have a light bulb moment. I'm really hoping that this is something everybody can learn from. I've learned more from it probably than anybody here will. Okay, we're going to do our pride and rebellion. The two sins which are, I believe, are where all sin originates. All sin starts with pride and rebellion. Okay, let's get back over here now.
Okay, Ben.
You're on the camera, so stay with it.
Oh, that's right.
Thank you.
Pride. Geva. Hebrew. A feeling or deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievement. The achievements of those whom one is closely associated from, or qualities or possessions that are widely admired. So pride in oneself. The wonderful things that we do. Rebellion. Mara. The act of violent or open resistance to an established government or ruler. The action or process of resisting authority, control, or convention. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start where humans started rebelling. Pride and rebellion. We have see the very first sign of that. Let's turn to Genesis 1:27-28. Now there will be a lot of scripture here. You're there, say, oh me. Or oh my.
Amen.
Amen works too. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful, multiply, and replenish and fill the earth, and subdue it. And have domain over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. Now, we see God here commanding them, 1, to be fruitful and multiply. 2, replenish and fill the earth. This will come up later, as well as right now. But we're going to see this later on. And the Lord God commanded the man, you are free to eat from any tree. This might help. Genesis 2:16-17. I'm getting ahead of myself. 2:16-17. And the Lord God commanded the man, you are free to eat of any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. For when you eat of it, you will certainly die. Now in this case, God's giving one simple command. I wonder how this is going to turn out. That's always asking. One thing, don't eat from that tree. There are probably thousands of trees around them that they can eat from. So we've given them one command only. Genesis 3:1-5. Now the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord had made. He said to the woman, did God really say you must not eat of the fruit of the tree, any tree in the garden? The woman said to the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees in the garden, but God did say, you must not eat from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it, or you will die. Now she should have stopped right there. However, she had free will to make a choice. She knows the command, she knows that command that God gave her. And so what that tells us is Adam passed the command on to her. God said, do not eat from this tree. To Adam, pass it on to his wife. So she understands what's going on. It's clear. Well, so Satan says to her, well, you will not certainly die. The serpent said to the woman, for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened. And you will be just like God, knowing of good and evil. Well, that sounds pretty good. That is where Eve had the choice. The choice was given to her right there. Remember again, she has free will. Just like we do. What was the devil's trick here? What was he doing? What was his attempt? What causes Eve to be tempted by Satan? Could she have refused the temptation if he wanted to? Yes, she could have. But her pride got in the way. She has the thought that I could be like God. This can be boiled down to the main topic of this lesson, pride and rebellion. When the devil told Eve she could be like God, understanding good and evil, she made the choice of knowledge. She already had the knowledge. She didn't need the fruit to gain knowledge. She and Adam were covered by the grace of God. They lost when they ate. Timothy speaks of this kind of seduction. Let's go to, what is the next one? I think it's 1 Timothy 4, 1 through 2. I'm hoping it's 1 Timothy. I'm going to find out real quick here. Yep, good deal. 1 Timothy 4, 1 through 2. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly in the latter times that some shall depart from the faith. So in this case, we're looking at Eve departing from God. Giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. Satan influencing Eve. Speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with an iron. The result of what Eve had done. What this has to do with pride and rebellion? When Satan tempted Eve, she had two choices. She could trust her husband, who had given her God's command, thereby submitting to him. Or she could trust Satan, submitting instead to him, submitting to pride. Sadly, in Genesis 3:6 reveals her choice. So when the woman saw the tree was good for food, that it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree was desirable to make one wise, she took the fruit and ate it. She also gave to her husband. At this point, Adam has a choice. He could obey God who gave him the command, thereby submitting to him, or he could obey his wife, submitting instead to her. This is rebellion. He made his choice and submitted to his wife. Too far again. Okay. So we can see there where pride on Eve's part is the presentation of what the devil gave to her. Look what you can do. Look what you can become. In Adam's side, it was rebellion. God directly gave him a command. Do not eat of this tree. And he decided that it was better to go with his wife than what God told him. So he rebelled against God. Now our next example of pride and rebellion is the Tower of Babel. We'll start a few hundred years before the start of the Tower. Let's go to Genesis, chapter 9, verse 1. You're there, say amen. And God blessed Noah and his sons, and said to them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish or fill the earth. Now remember, this is We heard this earlier too, with Adam and Eve. Then God blessed Noah and his sons, saying to them, be fruitful and increase in number and fill the earth. What does this have to do with the Tower of Babel? So God commands Noah and his sons to fill the earth. Another simple command. Fill the earth. Have lots of babies spread out. This again is a command of God to man, to fill the earth. Fast forward about 700 years. All the people on earth have come together on the plain of Shawn and settled there under the leadership of Nimrod. Now, who's Nimrod? Nimrod was the leader at the time. The name Nimrod in Hebrew is Marad, meaning rebel. So here we go. The guy's already, his name already means rebel. Now, this is my little map. You see that little yellow dot there? Now, I don't know if that's exactly where the Tower of Babel was, but it's probably approximate about where it was, okay? Well, that's where they wanted to stay. Now, looks to me like the earth is a whole lot bigger than that little spot. Okay, so at least everybody's in that one little spot, and that's where they wanted to stay. Let's see what happens. Okay. So what were they attempting to do? Let's go to Genesis 11, 1 through 9. Now the whole world had one language and a common speech. As the people moved eastward, they found a plain in Shinar and settled there. They said to each other, come, let us make bricks, bake them thoroughly, and they used those bricks instead of stone and tar for mortar. They said, come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, we will be scattered over the face of the whole earth. Now again, here we are filled with pride and rebellion, ignoring God's command to fill the earth, believing we knew better. These descendants of Noah understood the command of God to fill the earth. They understood this. Or they would not have said, otherwise we will be scattered over the face of the earth. I don't know about you, but I can hear fear in that statement. Otherwise we will be scattered over the face of the earth. They understand what's going on. They know the pride that they have. They know what the rebellion that they're committing right now. They're not unconscious of this. What was ultimately behind the building of the tower? Rebellion. Man rebelling against God and wanting to rule themselves. Let's just push God out of the way. We can take care of this all by ourselves. This was the precursor, or is the precursor, to what is coming in a one world government. At this current time, right now, in the world we live in today, there are many nations, hundreds, I don't know exactly how many, but we're going to say hundreds of nations, maybe more. Each nation has its own leader. In the time of Babel, there was only one, Nimrod. That was it. He ran the show. In the end times, there will be one government with one person leading. What do you think would be easier to control for Satan? One man or an entire world full of leaders? Let's go to 2 Thessalonians 2, 3 through 4. Okay, let no one deceive you by any means, for the day will come, unless the falling away comes first, and the man of sin is revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he sits as God in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. This is the beast. This is the Nimrod, you could say, almost would be the precursor to the beast. Now, I'm not saying Nimrod was a beast by any means, but he was one leader, and he led the world. The beast will lead the world. In the world we live today, again, there are many nations and individual leaders. Each nation is impossible to control, for Satan to control all these leaders. However, in the case of Babel and the coming world government, in the government, there will be one leader, much easier for Satan to control. And again, we have Revelation 3, 11, 12.
You said you have 13.
Do I? Did I? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, yes, 13, not 3. Sorry, thank you. Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. And he exercises all of the authority of the first beast in his presence, and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast. Here we are. He exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence and causes the earth to those who dwell in it to worship the first beast. This is the end times. This is the leader of the end times, whose deadly wound was healed. So what was Babel but an attempt to push God out and attempt to rule ourselves without him? It was nothing more than that. They wanted to, the new Babel. What is the new Babel? That's the coming Babel. The descendants of the Babel builders are still with us today. Their plan for creating a global society is evident in their various writings. In the Human Manifesto, too, under the heading World Community, we read, "We deplore the division of humankind on nationalistic grounds. We have reached a turning point in human history where the best option is to transcend the limits of national sovereignty. As to move toward the building of a world community, we look at the development of a system of world law and world order based upon transitional federal government." Elsewhere in the same document we read, this is where it gets interesting. "What more daring goal for humankind than for each person to become an ideal, as well as a practice as citizen of the world." This sounds so wonderful.
Yeah.
According to this document, no deity will save us. Just get out of the way. Get out of it. We must save ourselves. That sounds familiar.
Yep.
Anybody?
Come on.
So we may make a name for ourselves. Isn't that interesting? And they write this, I don't know how when this Human Manifesto was written. I should have found that out. It just sounds really, it's kind of real fishy that these people are saying the exact same thing that people in Babel. Isn't that interesting? So we're living in a time when people are thinking just like the Babylonians did. This is the current world we live in. We see the attack on Christianity on a daily basis and the promotion of a godless society. This is where this all comes from. This is where the Human Manifesto comes from, all of it. Pastor spoke this morning about that. Next, we're going to discuss Sodom. Now, Sodom's an interesting one. That was a difficult one for me to dig into, to understand the pride and rebellion of it. When you look into the actual text where Abraham wants to save Lot. And I'll get to this in a minute. I'm not saying it's confusing whatsoever. That's not the point. It's direct about its approach to why it's being destroyed. But there's a lot more to Sodom and Gomorrah than is written right there. So as we go along, I'm hoping maybe to bring a little light to it, because it sure had a light bulb moment for me as I was going through this. So the two angels came to Lot's tent to lead him out of the city before it's destroyed. These passages follow their arrival. Genesis 19, 4 through 5. They're saying amen. But before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both young, old, all the people to the last man, surrounded the house. And they called to Lot, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them to us, so we may know them." Lot went outside to meet them and shut the door behind him and said, "No, my friends, don't do this wicked thing. Look, I have 2 daughters. They have never slept with a man. Let me bring them out to you, and you can do what you like with them. But don't do anything to these men, for they have come under the protection of my roof." "Get out of my way," they replied. "This fellow came here as a foreigner, and now he wants to play the judge. We'll treat you worse than them." They kept bringing pressure on Lot and moved forward to break down the door. But the men inside reached out and pulled Lot back in and shut the door. Then they struck the men who were outside of the house, young and old, with blindness, so they could not find the door. We often believe, and rightly so, that the story of Sodom and its sin of homosexuality is the primary reason God destroyed the city. Now, when you read the text, only that text, and you don't read anything else, that's the idea you get. Understandably so. God destroyed the city. There is more to this story than is presented in the story of Lot right before the city is destroyed. Sodom and Gomorrah were very wealthy cities at the time. They were doing very well for themselves. However, they were living in sin. They completely had left God. Thank goodness God is a merciful God and allowed Abraham to take Lot out of it. He didn't have to. Was pride and rebellion such a problem in Sodom as sexuality? As homosexuality, sorry. Let's go to Ezekiel 16, 49 through 52. In this passage in Ezekiel, God is speaking through Ezekiel to Jerusalem. We were seeing Jerusalem going through a very rebellious time at this time. Rebellion against God. God was not a happy camper. God was really coming down on them hard, trying to get them on track again. And this is where I found it interesting about Sodom, which I knew it was there, just didn't concentrate on it. I think I must have missed the word Sodom in the whole thing. So now this was the sin of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters were arrogant, overfed, unconcerned. They did not help the poor and needy. They were haughty, did detestable things before me. Therefore, I did away with them as you have seen. Unconcerned, pride. Haughty and detestable things before me, rebellion. The Lord clears this up in Ezekiel. We see now that pride and rebellion of the people of Sodom is what led to the detestable behavior, sin, that the Lord found worthy of destruction. This is what I think people, those who study, we concentrate so much, we get tunnel vision. And I was getting in on this. We get tunnel vision on the men trying to know the men that know the angels. We concentrate on that and don't go any further. It's really important to understand that these people in Sodom, these people actually in Jerusalem at the time, were no better than the people in Sodom. their history. And Ezekiel was bringing that up and telling them, you guys are so full of pride, so full of rebellion. But look what I did to Sodom. You continue this. This is something I might do to you. You've already been through all this stuff. I brought you out of all these situations. And here you are, rebelling against me again. So he gives them what they need at this time. How can we compare what's happening in the world today to what happened in Sodom? Just as Lot, now, I don't hope nobody disagrees with this, but I think this is right. Just as Lot compromised or tolerated living near living near and ultimately at the gate of Sodom. Now, Lot knew what was going on there. There's no way he didn't know. It's right there. He knew what was going on. However, because he wanted to be separate from Abraham at the time, because of the fighting that was going on between all their helpers and all their slaves, he decided to go where everything was, the city was doing well. There was lots of wonderful things around. Things were great. The land was fertile. So he lived near and ultimately at the gate of Sodom. This is not saying Lot was complicit, but was willing to ignore what was happening. Come on. How different are we sometimes? Okay? How different are we in accepting things around us or putting ourselves in situations where we know we shouldn't be in? No different. We are no better than what Lot was doing most of a lot of times. We have to check ourselves. The world has become tolerant, even accepting almost any kind of behavior. I shouldn't even say almost. I should just scratch that word out of there and just say any kind of behavior or sin. What is good is evil, what is evil is good. Good example, Pride Month. I'm not a fan of Pride Month. First of all, the word pride should never be before anything. Unless you're proud of your faith in Jesus. Probably the only thing I can think to be proud of. Even that I don't think you should be proud of. You should be happy about that. You should exalt that. You should express that to others. But being proud, Pride Month, over 100, now listen, this is craziness going on in this world. Over 100 different genders going directly against the truth of the Bible and even science, unless it goes against their ideology. Now, we're not big fans of science in this place, but science has its place. Sure. Science is very important. I wouldn't have that. We didn't have science. We wouldn't have this Bible. We didn't have science. I wouldn't have this Bible. We didn't have science. Science says there's two genders.
Right.
According to them, no. It's funny how they will deny science when it works in their favor.
Come on. There you go.
Okay? This is the only time they deny science. Don't tell me the whole world's burning up around us. But it's settled science, and they're all for that. But no, there's not two genders. There's like over 150 genders. But science says there's two. Nope, 150. So this is where we're at today. This is where we're at today. We're denying everything. Thankfully, we in this church understand this. We know this is the truth. This is all we need as our truth.
Amen.
Okay. Now we're going to go to when Moses is up on the mountain. He had just, God using Moses, had just recently brought the Israelites out of Egypt. He had rescued them from 400 years. Now please, I can't emphasize this more. 400 years of slavery. Not 4 years, not 40 years, 400 years. That's all these people knew for all these years. there was a point where the Egyptian Pharaoh was getting ready to start killing them because there were so many of them. So Moses leads them out. With God and Moses and Aaron, they lead them out of Egypt. God. All these incredible things happen. All these miracles. Frogs, the water turning into blood, the gnats, the boils, the firstborn son's firstborn died. The literal separation of a sea so that the Israelites could cross safely and the Egyptian army be destroyed. Okay, now, I'm describing that because this is really important to understand. These people have seen what God is willing to do for them. What God is willing to do to save them, to get them out of this awful situation. And now that I have that precedent set, God chose a group of people who He had just let out of Egypt are waiting for Moses to come down from the mountain. Now he's on the mountain now because God has called him up for the Ten Commandments and, I believe, to write the first part of the Bible. I believe that's where he got all that information. It makes sense to me. That's where he got that information. It was from God. Go back over here. So, now, this is the important part to remember. He was gone less than 40 days. Okay? It wasn't 4 days. But, sorry. It wasn't like he was gone for 40 years. He was gone less than 40 days. Okay? I want you to think about this for a minute. He was gone less than 40 days. They had just been rescued from 400 years of slavery. And this is the result.
Yeah.
Exodus 32, 1 through 2. When the people saw that Moses was so long coming down from the mountain, they gathered around Aaron and said, "Come, make us gods who will go before us. As for this fellow Moses, who brought us up out of Egypt." Now, you heard they just said, "Who brought us up out of Egypt."
Yeah.
Okay? They understand what happened. They're not completely ignorant of what just happened. We don't know what has happened to him. Now remember, he's not even gone maybe a month. Aaron. Now I don't know who's worse here. The Israelites or Moses' brother.
Yeah.
Aaron answered them, "Hey, yeah, take off all the gold earrings your wives and your sons and your daughters are wearing, bring them to me." So that all the people took off all the earrings, brought them to Aaron, he took what they handed to him, and made it into an idol cast in the shape of a calf. Now, we have to remember this idol is something that they worshipped, or that the Egyptians worshipped. They were used to 400 years of looking at people worshiping Ra or whoever they worshipped at the time. These golden idols everywhere. So they went right back to that. Within 30 days, over 40 days, not even 40 days of being rescued. Fashioned it with a tool, then they said, "These are your gods, Israel, who brought you out of Egypt." So they easily replaced God with an idol. Snap. Boom. Done. All replaced. How does all of this we just discussed have anything to do with the angelic conflict? Now, I know I didn't mention that earlier, the angelic conflict. However, all of this ties directly to the angelic conflict. This is a question I ask myself. Reading the basics helps. However, I realize this whole talk is about pride and rebellion. It's right there in front of me the whole time. Let's look at Isaiah 14, 12 through 14. I should know this by heart. how you are fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning, how you are cut down to the ground, you who weaken the nations. For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above all the stars of God. I will also sit on the mount of congregation. On the farthest side of the north, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. This is the advent of sin. The first prideful and rebellious act of a created being. What could be more prideful or rebellious than attempting to overthrow God himself? This is where pride and rebellion began, as well as the dawn of the angelic conflict. Now, this is for, I guess, you three, but you're not a teen anymore. I guess it's going to be directly to you. We as adults are to a point in our lives where the person we answer to now, other than the people we're married to, we answer to them, is God. We answer to God forever. We have an opportunity to do what he asks of us. This is where we find that out. We don't find out anywhere else. Do what he asks of us. Or we decide to rebel. Teenagers. The only teenager in here. No different than when you rebel against your parents. Your parents make rules. God has rules. Your parents expect you to abide by those rules. God expects us to abide by those rules. You say, you know what? I know better than my parents. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do what I want right now. I'm going to go on my bike and I'm going to ride down to this place they told me not to go. We say as adults, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do my Bible study. I'm not going to do none of this stuff. I'm just going to go sit and watch a movie. Or I'm going to go to the yard or whatever. Do something other than what God would have me do. Come on, bro. When your parent finds out where you're at, that you're somewhere you're not supposed to be, they get upset. They get mad at you. They might even punish you. They're not punishing you because they hate you. They're punishing you because they love you. And they want better for you. When we aren't doing what we're supposed to, we're falling away. We're rebelling. God punishes us. Now, not in the same way. God makes things a little more difficult to push you back to where you're supposed to be. Puts barriers in your way. No, we're not going over there today. We're going to make this a little more difficult than it should be. And as long as you are out of fellowship with him, that's how it's going to be. Yep. Until you get back in fellowship, you start your Bible studies, you start praying, you start asking for you. When I talk to God, I ask him to guide me in the right direction. Guide me where I need to be. To help me understand what this little light bulb moment I had a day ago, what's that mean? How can you help me? Guide me as I open my Bible up. Hopefully, I'm where I need to be. So, teens are like adults, rebelling against adults, not following rules. I know better than my parents. So, or we as adults, we know better than God. Question for everybody here, including me. How is pride or rebellion preventing you from growing? It's a question you need to ask yourself. Because we all have it. All of us rebel. All of us are prideful in one way or the other. We need to identify those areas in our lives where we have pride and rebellion and try to work on those. Get those, move those, get them out of the way. Can you withstand the pressure of the world without submitting to the rebellion? Or will you stay faithful, trust in God, for He knows what you need and when you need it? These decisions are completely up to you. As Pastor stated this morning, it's easy to be of the world. It's very easy. We live in the world. We live in this world in time. It's difficult to live as Christ asks us. But we have a lot of opposition. And as the years pass, the opposition will grow greater. However, the reward for your faithfulness will be beyond anything any of us can imagine. We have to try to keep that in mind. We live in time. Every minute that passes sometimes seems like an eternity to us. We have to understand that 70, 80, 90 years is really just a drop in the bucket. It's hard for us to grasp that as human beings on this earth when we go through so much pain and anguish sometimes. But there's a reason for it, and we will be rewarded if we are faithful.
Amen.
The rewards of the world are fleeting, temporary. Heavenly rewards are eternal. Rewards of knowledge. For on earthly knowledge, we can look at Eve for that. Fear and self-governance, living in the world, acting like the world, worshiping false idols, and rebellion. These are all the things we need to avoid. And how to avoid them?
There it is.
Get into this.
Amen.
Stay here as much as you possibly can. I am preaching from a place of not being where I need to be in this. This has taught me so much
Amen.
about where I'm at, but where I need to be. I chose this on my own, not realizing where it would take me. So it took me to a place I needed to be. I thank everyone for your attention. I hope that everyone understood this and that maybe down the line we can help someone on down the line that they can, have a little light bulb moment. Oh, I remember Shawn's here. I have it all the time with these two. I'll be at work, standing around there, I almost literally hear it when the Holy Spirit's talking to me. Like when He's trying to get me to, and it'll always be something in here. Every single time. It's never anywhere else. It's always in the Bible. Right. So thank you for your attention.